Welcome to Stories from the Stage, a podcast that brings together performers from all artistic disciplines to share their unique visions and voices. In this episode, I'll sit with composer and music professor Dr. Nick Vasallo to discuss compositional processes from the conception of a musical idea to its fruition as sonic vibration perceived by both performers and audience.
When I am actively composing, my ear will be open to every single non-musical thing that can influence me musically, if that makes sense, or extra musical influences, right? Personal style comes a lot from all those little choices you make. My whole goal, and I think a lot of goals of composers, is to crystallize their voice, to find out what they want to say, how they want to say it, so when people hear your music, when you even hear your own music, you're like, that's me. That's what I want to say.
Composers are as varied as the music they create. Each strives for a style which makes their music readily identifiable, yet absolutely unique. Think Bach, Monk, or Prince. It's fascinating to discover the deeply personal approaches used by musicians to find the soul of their sound. Inspiration, specific musical gestures, technological resources, rehearsal techniques, and performance practices all play a crucial role in the individuation of a composer. Nick started our conversation out by digging into inspiration, a wide and deep pool for any open-eared composer seeking that initial spark which lights a musical fire.
I'll be surfing, I'll be scrolling through the TV guide. I saw a movie title. I think it was something like this. It was like When the War Began or The War Began. And so I was like, that's a really cool title for a piece. So what would it feel like if you knew that war was coming upon you and you could do nothing to stop it? Like how scary, how intense would that be? Imagine you were in some sort of village or whatever, town, ghetto, and you heard the impending marching of armies or bombs or whatever, and that intense feeling. So I wrote this piece called When the War Began. It really all started with hearing a siren. Like a half step that is having a slight like portamento up and down. What if I can base a whole piece based on how scary a glissando of a half step is? When I talked to people afterwards and fellow composers, they said that was the most uncomfortable I've ever felt, listening to a piece of music. I said, thank you. That's kind of what I wanted. I wanted to feel like that fear, that helpless fear.
Nick's musical inspirations and compositional processes are certainly capable of evoking strong emotions. Our discussion turned to live performance practices and how composers share their musical visions with the audience.
I have found, and I've developed this practice, when I'm on the stage, I'll tell my stories before I play the song. I'll just talk for 2 or 4 minutes about the piece, maybe about the first time I came up with the idea or the inspiration for the piece. I'll tell the story about the Jovian moon and how volcanic it is, and I'll give them an idea and I'll let them know. I'll say, there's going to be a volcanic explosion. See if you can hear it. And of course they can hear it. It's when all the musicians go absolutely nuts. I found it draws audience people into the performance. Now they're more vested. They have something to look for, something to listen for. They have a person or a place or an image to tie this instrumental music to. And I've just found that that's a way I can connect with the audience more in a live setting.
You know what you said that really reminds me of the way I approach music now, is the way I listen to music. There was an article called Musicking, Musicking. Musicking is an active activity. You actually have to put yourself in a position to be fully open to accepting music and engaging. Telling the audience to actively engage in a moment makes them turn on their musicking button.
Composers create music, but an audience that willfully receives our inspiration and work gives meaning. Musicians and audience need each other, playing, receiving, giving, and musicking together. Until the next episode, this is Matt Zebley and Stories from the Stage.